I'm told that I have the easiest job here today, which is just to give you a few final comments and also to say a few thank yous. I think it's more difficult than that, following on from my three esteemed speakers here. Can I ask you to put your hands together and give our three speakers a warm round of applause, please? Thanks to Brian, thanks to Charles, thanks to Na again. I'm going to share with you just a couple of things that the guys have touched on, and just a couple of final comments from ourselves. When that's finished, we'll do questions and answers, and I'll invite our three speakers to come up again. And if you have any questions from their presentations, we're delighted to handle those. So it's great to be here again. It's great to be here with our partners from Trinity College. It's wonderful to see so many fresh faces here with us, people who are here for the first time, and I also see some familiar faces as well. As a company, this is our 9th salary survey. Delighted to say it's the 9th time that we've done this, and I'm even more delighted to say that this is the 3rd time that we've done it in partnership with Trinity College. In terms of the salary survey, and this is version 9, I think what sets the salary survey apart in the market is the quality of insights that we generate. It's the quality of information that we produce from the salary survey. And maybe just to share with you, if any of you want to come back to us, come back to either myself or Rory in Abrivia, we can actually break the salary survey out in terms of particular markets. So if you're in the banking sector, if you're in the professional services sector, if you're in the technology sector, we can give you unique insights and give you individual reports about what the salary survey is saying, both in terms of your employees and what your competitors in the market are doing. So please feel free to come back to us after this at any stage to get further information. One of the things that I'm most proud about in terms of this salary survey is, I suppose, the level of publicity that it generated. And if you're like me and you watch the Late Late Show, and probably rules most people out, I also watch the 6 and 9 o'clock news. The salary survey ended up on the Irish television news. We had a 2-minute segment devoted to the findings. And I suppose that speaks volumes for the quality and the insights that we're generating through the salary survey. I'm not going to go back and talk about the economic environment that faces all of us at the moment, because I think my esteemed colleagues have covered that really well. But suffice to say, there's massive uncertainty, and I know now use the word disruption. I would use the word uncertainty in relation to what's happening with Brexit, what is happening in terms of the Trump administration, and we're dealing with an Irish economy that is returning to full employment and is beginning to overheat. Some of the effects of that, and just to share with you a couple of insights on that front, we have found that firstly, 86% of the people who completed the salary survey were in full-time employment. One of the things that tells us as a recruitment firm, and something that we're acutely aware of, is that it's incredibly difficult to find good people, and it's incredibly difficult to find people both in the temporary and contract market. The reasons for that is because of full employment. Most people, if they wish, can take full-time employment. We have the old Dublin versus the regions debate, and that was front and centre in terms of some of the findings of the salary survey. So just to share with you, believe it or not, 44.5% of people, this is candidates who completed the salary survey, said they would be happy to move outside of Dublin, and maybe this is coming back to work-life balance, if they got between a 4 and 10% salary increase. I suppose the corollary of that is also true, and I think Na touched on this already, I think it was Charles actually, that 20% of people won't countenance a move to Dublin at all. That is because they perceive the challenges with the housing market, the rental market. They just don't want to be here, and that's probably for work-life balance reasons. And 53%, and this is important to you as employers, if you're trying to attract people from outside Dublin, 53% of respondents said they would need a minimum of a 20% increase in salary to come to Dublin. In terms of your employee brand, one of the things I will say to you is that probably every new prospective employee that looks at joining a new company does their research before they look to join a company. The two most prominent pieces of research that they look at are Glassdoor and Irish Jobs. So in terms of your employee brand proposition, it's incredibly important that you tend to your reputations. The other thing, and this was one of the most interesting things to me, and Na did touch on this, is what employees perceive as the most important thing to them to keep them in employment versus what employers perceive as the most important thing. Right now, we all know that there's a huge amount of wage increases happening in the market, and that's borne out by the salary survey. But what is interesting to note is that's not the most important thing to employees. To employees, work-life balance is the most important thing, that allied to interesting work. That's not to say that we all don't want more money in our pockets, but that's not the number one thing. It's actually third in terms of the hierarchy of importance. Just to share with you as well, 69% of companies, that's 69% of companies, increased their net headcount last year. The two biggest areas of increase were the architectural sectors and the marketing sector. What the marketing sector says to me, marketing is always an area of investment for companies where they're trying to increase their top line, where companies have that level of money to be able to do that. I'm not going to tell you now anything that you didn't already know, but the ICT sector, as Nat touched on, is still the most difficult sector to hire for. There are a couple of insights I wanted to share. Something that's very important to us and to my team as a company is corporate social responsibility. And I wanted to share with you the fact that we've partnered this year with Pieta House. I'd love to invite Marie Pilo from Pieta House just to speak briefly in relation to the great work that their organisation does. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation here this morning. As I was sitting up the back there, I was thinking, how am I going to follow this? There's so many brilliant speakers. But the way I will follow it is that Pieta House is about hope. And we delivered hope to over 8,000, approximately 9,000 people last year. And we did that through 15 centres that we have around the country, through 57,000 counselling hours. And we could do that because of people. And that's individual people, people in communities, and people in organisations. We're able to keep our doors open because of that. We give hope to people in crisis, suicidal crisis, self-harming crisis, and people who are suffering because of suicidal bereavement. Now, the general public in Ireland are allowing us to do that, and as I say, keeping our doors open every day. 86% of our income comes from the voluntary sector, which is communities, people, organisations. The balance we get through the NOSP and the HSE. So I just want to say to you that since 2006, people have somewhere to go. They have somewhere to go when they're in crisis. And we will continue to deliver that with the support of the Irish people, with the support of sort of many of our sort of events during the year, our biggest one being Darkness into Light. So you can all sign up your companies if you like. But we will continue to do that because of your help. As I said, nearly 9,000 people last year. The first year we opened it was 70 people. So there's been a huge growth in the awareness, but also in the need for our services. So if you or any of your people in your company need our services or need our support in any way, please do give me a call. As I say, it's Marie Pilo. I'm Deputy Director of Funding and Advocacy in Pieta. I will be up at the back if you want a little card, if you want our numbers, call us anytime. We'll be more than happy to support you. And thank you for your support as well. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. We're nearly done. Marie, thanks a million for going through that with us. I did want to make that introduction because of the great work that Pieta House do. So I would obviously invite any of you that haven't set out your new corporate social responsibility partner for the year to speak to Marie. Finally, I just want to thank my own team because I think I say this every year. They're up at an ungodly hour this morning. Thanks to the team last night who came in and set up this lecture theatre. Thanks to Laura, thanks to Rory, thanks to Vicky, thanks to Colin, and thanks to the greater team who put the salary survey together. It's an absolute labour of love to put the project together and to work with our colleagues from Trinity. There's a huge amount of work for them to do. And believe it or not, the project actually kicks off around July time every year.